Hi, everyone. Yet again, have another conversation with a wonderful, gifted Nancy Rebecca. Welcome, Nancy. Absolute joy to see you.
Oh, I'm so excited. It feels like it's been ages.
Yeah, it has just been a few months, but boy, I think you and I have had 4 or 5 conversations now,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
every time you have brought through really extraordinary, kind of unique information. And I actually mentioned in one of my update videos, I said Nancy nailed it, and that I think was the talking about that surge of energy in late March, early April. That was the end of the Kali Yuga, and a whole
Oh,
and
yes.
I really had, a very dramatic time. Lots of people did. So, for those of you who don't know Nancy, she's a retired registered nurse. She's a healer. She's a psychic. She's an intuitive teacher. She's an expert in the human energy field, and she's co-founder
Mhm.
of intuitivemind.org. And I'll put the link for Nancy's website below. And Nancy was really the first person I was aware of who told us about the blue light beings.
Mhm.
And that was a couple of years back, I think. And the activation of the pyramids,
Oh,
that was
yes.
extraordinary with all the specific dates that you gave us.
Mhm.
You have really been on the money with all of your information and the dates you've given us. So I can't wait to hear what you've got to share with us this time around, because I know I've read some of your email, but boy, I think you've got a lot to share that will be very positive and very optimistic and very hopeful for people. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. It's definitely been a journey, and I was just thinking about the first time that you interviewed me, and I was I really felt so unprepared for just how excited, because what I thought people would think about blue light and star beings, I just thought they would think, wow, she's just really lost her marbles now. And that's just not what happened. It just, like, suddenly everyone was talking about their own experiences, and it was so beautiful for me because suddenly I didn't feel alone, in the world. And so since then it has just grown. So yes, there's a lot coming through, and I'm not even sure where to start with all this, because it is I'm personally very, very excited. And I'm excited because I have experienced being prepared for this time, even though maybe I didn't believe that this time was really going to happen. Like back in 2007, I remember specifically being told that the entire world, all of humanity, was going to be going through a mass consciousness awakening. And I couldn't figure out in my little human mind how that was going to be even possible. Well, now all those impossibilities are thrown out the window, and what's possible for us, we can't even quantify or measure. But it is exciting. All of humanity is going through this, not just a chosen few. And I was thinking back on, I literally can remember I was going for a walk. It had only been a couple of years since my out of body experience. And I remember reading a book where it said 144,000 people were going to ascend, and that's it. And I remember feeling kind of like, I don't want to be left behind. And how do I get to be one of those 144,000 people? And I seriously thought in that limited way. And I know a lot of people did. Well, come on. Like, really? There's billions of people. And so we can really kind of lock into these things that people say, that I say, or maybe you say, or other spiritual leaders say, or maybe political leaders say, or banking whatever, kings, queens, dictators, whatever they say. But here's the bottom line is, we have got to get in touch with our inner authority. We have got to get in touch with, is this true for me? Like, even what I'm saying right now, I want people to be saying, does this resonate with me? Is it a truth for me? Do I need to sit with this? Am I feeling unsettled about something that Nancy said? I want, it's like we need to start really um, not just getting in touch, because I do think that we are getting in touch with our inner authority much more than we may realize. But to hear something like, some of us are ascending and some of us aren't ascending, or some are going to have a light body and some aren't going to have a light body. The information that's been coming through in the last month for me is everybody's creating a light body. Everybody is a light body. We're just covered with a lot of old, we'll just say dogma or programming, or what I'm realizing is we so trust confident people, but just because someone's humanly confident doesn't mean they have any idea what they're talking about. And I've been at at that end where they just were so confident that I really wanted to believe them. And a lot of this is just not turning out to be true. And so, um, number one of the things is creating the light body. The light body is creating us. And so that's the information that's coming through. When I look out at humanity, I'm beginning to notice blue light, like a blue grid, and it's starting to light up. And it doesn't matter if I'm walking in my neighborhood and there's a homeless camp, I'm seeing blue light in the homeless camps. I'm seeing blue light, on actors and actresses, on the television, or I'm seeing blue light in my friends. And if I'm not seeing blue light that's already coming online in the nervous system, because I am a nurse, so I just love the physiology of the body. If it's not coming online in the nervous system yet, I am seeing the blue light on the outside of people just waiting for us to make that choice to let their light shine. And I had someone make a comment on YouTube and said that they doubt their intuition because they just don't think they're that special. It just broke my heart because if you have a heart that beats, because it's programmed, it just beats. You can't hold your breath. Your lungs are going to breathe. Your intuition is the same. It's not just for a few special people. So
And Nancy,
what's
can I
happened?
stop you for a moment because you mentioned something about you're seeing the blue light principally from the crown chakra and the sacral chakra. Is that correct?
Well, initially, yes. So I first saw it in the crown chakra, and then I saw it in the hands and the feet.
Wow.
So right now, predominantly, I'm now starting to see it start to kind of saturate the right side of the body. So this is in humanity. I'm seeing it kind of coming up from like the hip to the diaphragm area. So it's really activating that right side of the body where in the kind of the culture of the way I work with the human energy field, I would label the right side, the male side, the action oriented side. And the female side would be the left and it'd be more receptive side. Well, there's definitely other cultures that flip that, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to say, and in the way that I'm shown. And so what does that mean? If we're activating from the hip up to the diaphragm, that's the first, second, and third chakra. Those are the human physical chakras. It's getting activating, coming online to take action. So that dormant phase is not going to, you're not going to be able to hold that dormant phase. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, I have to get up off the couch. I've got to walk out my front door. I need to go for a walk, or you feel like you just need to do something. And I know that sounds like we're talking politically, because let's admit it, I'm here in the United States, that's just front and center in our lives. But it's not just that. Maybe I want to plant a garden, maybe I want to start writing. It's almost like we cannot stay in that phase of inertia or that phase of numbness anymore. So that's starting to get activated. We are seeing that like around wars. Like I think Australia just had that massive gathering together, between, Israel and Gaza. And that's the kind of thing that's kind of naturally coming online. So I am watching this. Now, not everybody has the blue light yet inside of them because everybody's got their own kind of pace, evolutionary pace. But I see the blue light around everybody, even if it's 100 feet out from the auric field. So, you know, you say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, for some of us, that choice point isn't quite, we're not quite dialed into it yet. Um, to even know that there's water there. But it's over these next 3 years. This is why I keep saying we're in this for the long game. Okay, you've got a headache today. Take an ibuprofen, take a Tylenol, drink some water. It's like this is kind of what the spirit world's saying. Get back, take what rest you need, but remember you've got tomorrow and you've got the next day and the next day. And so
Nancy, can I just ask, is the blue light from Sirius?
well, I'm going to say, so I come from the belief, Pam, that I'm a human. And as a human, I will never know with 100% accuracy what's going to happen to anyone at any time. But I've been doing this work for a while, and I did follow the blue light past the sun, past our galaxy. I traveled in my astral body to see where it was going, and it took me to that area of Orion's belt and the planet Sirius. So, yes.
Because the reason I'm asking is there is a beautiful, very beneficial aspect, which is remarkable actually, because it's happening exactly on Sirius at 14 degrees of Cancer between Venus and Jupiter, the two benefics. Now, that conjunction happens reasonably often, but not at 14 degrees of Cancer, not exactly conjunct where Sirius is in the heavens. And so that feels as if it's expanding the wisdom, expanding the light, expanding the love coming from Sirius. So it's so interesting
Yes.
having this conversation. And that's on the 11th and 12th of this month, of August, that becomes exact.
Oh, I'm not surprised because with this, sir, I mean, there's so much. Oh my gosh, Pam. It's like, I need to talk to you for like the next 6 hours, but that's okay because we have 3 years. Because, oh my gosh, we've got pyramids coming online that are being activated. Exactly what you're talking about. We're already noticing this in the past 3 weeks. I feel like, how when you're one of those warehouses where it's light sensitive, and so then the big overhead fluorescent comes on, and you walk a little further and the fluorescent comes on. That's what it feels like. Boom, 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 boom. Like where we walk and take action, the light is there to meet us. If we don't walk, the light's not there to meet us, but it's available to everyone, not just a chosen few. But the planet Sirius and the Syrians, it took me a long time to realize I was communicating with the Syrians. And recently, a very big, high level Syrian just started coming through just last week. And I'm just like, whoa, what's happening here? The Syrians are really into quantum physics, very much into the quantum field, very much into frequency. And that's why they wanted me to work with frequencies and activating DNA. And they've been explaining, I didn't know any of this stuff. I'm just going by what they are bringing through and what feels right. But not only am I noticing even larger, more expansive blue light beings coming in, it's like all the star beings are coming in, where we have the Lyrans and we have the Pleiadians and the Octurians. Like suddenly, if I can see clairvoyantly as I'm looking out there, it's just like there's just all these people coming. Like, I don't know, like if you were to imagine all these ships from other galaxies coming in, it's just like they're heading towards Earth. And so then that leads me to say, what the heck? What's happening here? And but it's exciting. Like there are exciting things happen, and it's not like they're on a white horse that are riding in to save the day, but they are reinforcing the frequencies that we already have so that we can feel the support.
Beautiful.
So yeah, there's a lot coming in. So awakenings coming from the human body to enhance consciousness, not the other way around.
Yeah, that was wonderful as well.
And then I've already said the neurological system is coming online. So, what does that mean at the human level? Is that a lot of humanity's really been suffering with fear and depression, anxiety, um, severe panic attacks, agoraphobia, not wanting to go out of the house. Well, what I'm being shown is their nervous system was kind of rebooting or booting up, and it's the frequencies can be kind of high for the body, and so then the body feels those other things. But as we're moving along in the next 3 years, that's supposed to start easing up because our body is starting to be able to handle, as we bring in more light, our nervous system.
And you see these 3 years particularly because astrologically they are very particular and unique. So it's so interesting you're talking about these 3 years as well, Nancy.
Yes, and I started hearing this back in 2023, but I didn't have a category I could put it in. It's so human. We want to put everything in a category. And then it came through a little stronger in 2024. And then when we started 2025, it was like, whoa, what's happening here? And yes, these 3 years are huge. And the rest of 2025, it has this potential to be, and I know nobody wants to hear this. It's kind of a rocky road, you know, meaning we can feel unsettled, and it's human nature, at least the humans I work with, to self-blame. If they're spiritually developing and they don't feel good, then often people think they're not doing the right thing. But you can do all the right things, and I can still not feel good some days. And I can still have a rough ride of it some days. And so it's that metamorphosis that's happening in the body where you as the caterpillar goes into the cocoon. And this is what blew my mind when I learned about this, that when we're in the cocoon, Pam, we turn into total liquid.
Yeah. We're
It's
mush.
just like, yeah, total liquid. And then that liquid rearranges itself, and suddenly we have wings.
It's
And
extraordinary.
so, what I'm noticing is really helpful is if we just keep remembering that we're kind of liquefied and our bits haven't come back together totally yet. And we have to do it together. That's the other thing I'm finding. It's too rough to do it isolated. That we want to start finding communities, even if it's an online community, that's fine, you know. But yeah, that's what I'm noticing.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think your phrase was, and I've often quoted it, we're in the mush of the chrysalis,
Yes.
which was
Yes.
very graphic and absolutely accurate, because that's where we are. And so,
Yeah.
I see it from a kind of physics of energy point of view, because there is such high frequency light, as you well know, Nancy, an energy coming in. It creates churn in that lower frequency, lower density
Yes.
energy. And so that's all collapsing and breaking up, because it can't continue to exist in
Right.
these much higher frequencies. And so that you get this turbulence, you get this churn, you get this feeling of it's not very stable. And Uranus is so highlighted this year. Uranus is the planet of, earthquakes, volcanoes, awakening, higher mind, the galactics, but it's the least stable of any planet. It's about destabilization, because it wants to break up the old to leap us through to the new. And
Yes.
so not
Yes.
and so just know that, know that astrological
Yes.
vocabulary. And that's, I think, quite reassuring. This is supposed to be happening.
Yes. And when the blue light first came in, it was 2019 and it came through the pyramidal structures in Xi'an, China. What I was shown was this very intense laser, blue light laser that came right through the top of the pyramid and went deep into the earth. And it was almost like that blue laser light was shattering black glass. It was just shattering some really um, massive stock block areas in our world in the way that we've been believing was true. Like it was the first phase of shattering the illusions. And it wasn't comfortable. And shortly after that, COVID hit. And then in 2021, it came through the pyramid in outside of Mexico City. And again, it was this laser beam. And again, it was shattering another level of illusions. And then it came through in Hopi land in Arizona through the three mesas. And this was still like a laser, but more of a liquefying, transformational, softening, like this ooey gooey center, to the earth that was much more flexible and expansive. And here I was recently in Egypt, and it just like, phew, this is 2025 because it's happened in the opposite years. And now we're in 2025. We're not having these, well, I'd say a lot of pyramids are getting activated now, but there's this softer kind of plasma that's coming through. And this is now almost like all those years had to prepare humanity for their nervous system and their light body to start coming online. And that's what's happening right now. And we think it's just going to be a bed of roses, but that's just not how it works. I mean, we are going to be flying. We are going to be levitating. We're going to be transporting ourselves to other planets. We have this capacity to do all this. But the blue light being said, Nancy, what if that's 100 years away? How are you going to look at today? And it was really jarring for me because I think we do think it's going to happen really quick. And they weren't saying we have to wait 100 years, but they were basically saying let go of your attachment to what you think it's going to be and just live your life to the fullest, making those uplifting choices that are going to influence you a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And that's where it comes to choices.
Yeah, I think also, Nancy, people are already starting to feel this much greater psychic sensitivity already.
Yes.
So we are already in process. We've moved out of Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, and we're moving increasingly towards the light, with these 3 years being very accelerated in that. So we're all going to be individually moving at a different pace, and that's okay. Think of it like a yoga class. Don't compare yourself to Mary next door who's been
Ex-
doing it for half a century. You run your
exactly.
own race, but just know that we are already in process towards more light, more love, more heart-based living, really, and community. And whatever you can do to welcome that in with open arms, the easier I think this transition will be, because it's when we resist, isn't it, that life gets trickier, that we try and hang
Yes.
on to the old, because it's like the first law of wing walking: don't let go of what you're hanging on to till you're hanging on to something else. But in this case, we have to let go and welcome in something which is going to be so much more magnificent and loving and
Yes.
unimaginably beautiful compared to where we've
Yes.
and don't
Yes.
necessarily want to rush it, but just keep welcoming, surrender and welcoming.
Yes. And patience is it's a frequency that we really want to invite into our life
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
And one of the things, like what I believe now may not be my truth 5 years from now, or what I believe now was not my truth. I just didn't have the consciousness knowledge to fully conceive. But this is the one thing that I know. I've said it consistently for 30 years, and I will say it. I'll go to my deathbed saying it. Just because you just started yoga today and you haven't been doing it for 20 years does not mean you weren't a yoga master in another lifetime. Just because you just started meditating, or maybe you choose never to meditate, although I highly recommend it, doesn't mean you're not this ancient wise being on the inside. So we can't get caught in looking outside
yeah.
and comparing ourselves to
100%.
other people. And we
100.
need to start accepting the fact that we have beautiful wings.
Yeah,
Now just let them dry and take flight. And um, it's like, okay, I'm having a bad day, but tomorrow is different and next year is different. And that's where we have to just keep moving.
absolutely. And before we started to record, Nancy, we were talking about the importance of making very conscious decisions, because we
Yeah.
truly are building this new, well, the new Earth is already here as a frequency, but we are building this amazing new sense of heart-based community.
Yes.
We're in every moment. So
Every
because
moment.
this shift, this change for humanity is so huge, we have to be much more conscious of what we're building for the long term, because the canvas is still pretty much blank at the moment. It is,
Yes.
the
We've only just started with a little corner of it,
yeah,
but it's this beautiful canvas just waiting, for us to. And here's what we want. If no one knows where to start painting on the canvas, start with kindness.
yeah,
Just start with kindness. It's a beautiful frequency. And the more you put out kindness, the more kindness comes back to you. And so these are frequencies that are available to us. And we just consciousness is going to be your friend. And that's all it means. Consciousness doesn't mean you're a yogi that just sat in a cave for 7 years in the Himalayas. Consciousness just means is your eyes are open and you're seeing what's true and not true in front of you. And even with our politics, it's like, is that true for me? Is that true? If my eyes are open, what am I seeing? If my eyes are closed, what am I kind of guessing and sensing? So there's a lot of choice points that are happening for us right now, but everybody has the choice to be what I would describe as our innate natural humanity, which is goodness and kindness and supportive and community building. And I my tagline is always, we are stronger together than we ever have been apart. And to me, that's the absolute truth.
yeah. And it fits with the astrology of Pluto moving into Aquarius, which it did fully last November. And every time I've looked at those cycles of Pluto and Aquarius, there's always been this sense of people, ordinary people coming together, power to the
Yes.
people. And so that's
Yes.
what we're just at the beginning of right now. So,
Yes.
welcome all that in. And the point you make about choice, Nancy, is again so right for the astrology, because Uranus has just moved into Gemini, which is the sign of choice. But Uranus does it from a much higher point of view. This is higher
Yes.
mind. This is the eagle's, on the eagle's
Yeah.
perch, surveying the possible choices for the long term, not just for today, but for the long term. But
Yes.
self-care is a big part of this as well. Be kind to yourself. Take time out. We were just
Yeah.
talking about that. Take more rest, because
Yeah.
that's really important with the speed at which the energies are going right now.
Yes. Well, and we are just coming out of a phase, it's like I call it the navel gazing phase. And that's where we're contemplating, why am I insecure? Why am I always so fearful? Why do I let this bully push me around? Why am I in a terrible relationship? And we were in that phase, I call it, where we were doing that self examination. That was necessary. I don't know what the astrology says about that, but it's like we all got into therapy then. And to me it feels like it was like a 40-year cycle or something, but now we're moving out of that. And my sense and what's coming through for me is our eyes are a little more wide open, and it's like, oh, I hurt because I had a painful childhood, or I had a poor relationship, or poor self-image. Oh, wait a minute, you did too. Oh, and you did too. Like I was saying, like I was thinking, I don't know that my adult kids have ever asked me what my life is like. What was my life like growing up? I don't think they've ever asked. And so for me, I'm starting to think it's like we're starting to see that in each other, that, oh, you have a story. I have a story. We all have a story. What do we want our combined story to be moving forward?
Yeah, it's less self-absorbed. I think
Yes.
it's more looking to the community, and that we are one unique part, one unique piece of the puzzle in the oneness
Yes.
of all of it. and
Yeah.
and that feels exciting, because there's a greater recognition of your individual skills and gifts, but there's also this plugging into this huge heart field of oneness of the whole, and that includes animals and trees and birds,
Yes.
all of it.
Yes, and I am loving it because I can feel it. I can feel it at the grocery store. Just when someone makes eye contact with me now, I'm noticing a softening in the eyes. And I'm like, oh, it's coming. It's
Yeah,
coming
and a
back.
smile, even a smile.
All right. So I just wanted to I think I had some specific dates, if
Yes, you
that's all
did.
right.
I really want to
Yeah.
talk about this. Wonderful.
Yeah. So August 9th, so I think by the time this is released, August 9th, I think might be a couple of days later. Um, August 9th, and it was interesting, Pam, because people talk a lot about the Alliance Gate, but that did not come up for me at all. It just didn't come up. But August 9th, it's the nervous system comes online. You may find reviewing your role in the broader community, but also as you individually prepare to clean out those closets of things that at some point in life felt so important to you and no longer serve. So August 9th, I'm getting there's just going to be this flip of the script.
Yeah, and that's the full moon. That's the full moon in Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
So it isn't on the 8th, it's on the 9th. So it's all about the broader community. Aquarius is all about community, power to the people, collaboration, and it is absolutely taking this step up into the bigger, higher version of you. It's absolutely,
Awesome.
there's a beautiful grand air trine, like an equilateral triangle in the element of air, and that's like a vision of who the future you is.
Ooh, I have goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I have
that's on
goosebumps.
the 9th. So spot on.
Okay. And then, and I do just want to say, it doesn't have to be, but it the sense of it could be a little bit of a rocky road. So in August and a little bit in September too. And the rocky road is the ascension symptoms could potentially be amplified. So about 3 days ago, I was like, gosh, I feel like I'm getting the flu. I feel achy all over. What's wrong with me? Look, and we have, you know, kind of COVID is going on around here again and all that stuff. But anyway, I took a COVID test. It was negative, and I had to realize it's ascension symptoms and drink more water and just rest a little bit more and meditate. And then I got through it. But we have this potential to have moments like that in the next couple of months.
Because our physical bodies are having to integrate a lot of new energies at speed.
Okay.
Yeah. And there hasn't
Okay.
been a test run for that. We're kind of in it right now. Yeah. So
You're in it.
fast. Yeah.
Then September 11th. Now, for many of you, here in the United States, it's a significant date for us. But I did some research before, and historically, September 11th, for some reason, has been historically big events have happened on September 11th. But what I wrote here, strong energies preparing for more wrapping up to end cycles. These endings are not subtle. So sometimes some people will say, I'm not feeling a thing. Well, you might not be feeling a thing, but you're going through a thing. But these may not be subtle. So just like I was talking about, my sense is this fall, we may not be experiencing any subtle, quiet shifts, but more broad, more direct strokes of the brush impacting many people, all in preparation for the upcoming months with a crescendo happening in January 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And on the 11th of September, we've just had a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. And total lunar
Oh,
eclipses are like big full moons. So full moons are always the ending of the cycle, the peak of the
so the
cycle.
big brush. So
Yeah,
when they were
big
talking
brush,
about,
culmination, etc. And for the rest of the year following that, every full moon is a supermoon, which means that the moon is very close to the Earth in its orbit, which means the pull on our psyches, the pull on the tectonic plates is much greater. So every ending, as it were, every peak of the moon cycle for the rest of the year after September, it is big because the moon is so close.
oh, I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it. Oh, I love it because that's really in alignment with what I'm being shown. Anything else about September, or are you
Yeah,
ready for
well,
me to?
yeah, I mean, there's so much happening because you've really at that point got all of the planets moving retrograde, all of the outer planets are moving retrograde, so we're moving into having had this summer northern hemisphere as our rehearsal for what we want to really launch next year. We are now in the kind of pulling back, integration, reflection. What do we really want to let go and prune? What do we
Oh,
want to
yeah.
consolidate? So it's that through these next few months of the autumn winter from September onwards, that's how we're going to be thinking. And then the planets, the astrology is very different going into 2026, and we'll get to that.
And see, this is why I just want to say again what they keep. We have to keep the end game in mind. We have to keep this next 3 years in mind. So even though we're doing this process, I'm like, I don't know if take it seriously is the right word, but take it on at it's significant and it's such a rich time. Like if all the planets are going into rich retrograde, my sense it's such a rich time to loosen up that inner stuff and get ready for a massive release
Yeah,
in
because this is
preparation.
maybe last chance is the wrong term, but this is the last time
Yeah.
Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are going back into that previous signs, their old signs, before they fully move into their new sign. So as of the end of April 2026, all of the outer planets with an orbit of 29 years, 84 years, 165 years, 248 years, all of them will be in their new signs. And that's kind of
Oof.
mathematically, astronomically remarkable that it's all happening, at the same time. So that's kind of forward
Yeah.
motion, launch time. So the
Yeah.
energy is very different. We're just in the rehearsal test run period right now.
That yeah, that just takes whatever I got, to this whole other level, of understanding and take advantage.
Yeah,
We want
go
to
for it.
take advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting a
Beautiful.
second rehearsal. This is it.
No, this is it. This is it. Yeah. Before the grand, show. All right. So October 2025 shows more reviews, and this is the term karmic bits. And I'm not this huge fan of karma, the word karma, only because a lot of people they can get kind of stopped mentally because I don't know exactly what that means. But it just means, balance and harmony. Where are things out of balance in your life and where are things in balance in your life? So all of those things that are out of balance, the karmic bits, all relationship contracts and agreements that are out of date with the new frequencies are going to be reviewed. An enormous, and I love this word because this fits, recalibration of what has been versus what is to be in the month of October. This month has the potential to trigger physical, emotional, and mental health issues coming to the surface because I'm a nurse. So I was really paying attention to this. Because we can have, yeah, we can get the flu, but we could have some purging that's happening that's showing up physically, emotionally, and mentally, and we don't like it. We can say, I don't like this feeling, but again, we need to know, remember the long game. We're going through a purging process. How do we support our beautiful bodies as they are trying to handle this purging
And I think
process?
there will be, and I've mentioned it in the past, a lot of kind of mental stresses just
Yeah.
because of the speed of change and the
Mhm.
speed of information coming in at us, and that's not going to slow down anytime soon. And so, do the simple stuff. And you say this too, Nancy. Close your eyes, drop into the breath, drop into the heart,
Yeah.
bare feet on the grass, drop into stillness, book stillness meetings with yourself. Keep it
Yes.
simple, go inwards, because if you go inwards, you've got a one-pointed focus and it's simple and still. If you go outwards, there are a zillion things to get you revved up, and you're giving your power away, you're scattering it.
Right. Yeah. And nature, I have to say, nature's really coming on the world stage in a way that I personally did not recognize just how incredible nature is, except COVID really, I think, brought that to the forefront because we couldn't get out and socialize with people, so we socialized with trees. But what I'm being told now, nature is so ascended, they are like ascended masters. These are ancient, very highly intelligent, highly wise frequencies that are available to us. So yes, if you got those body aches, just go out in nature, and nature, as soon as let's say you're out of balance, you go into nature, and this time shown, all of nature starts communicating. We got an out of balance frequency over here. We need to like gather. Okay, who's on duty? And then the frequencies just move to bring you into balance. And I laugh because I know not all of us can get out there, but they say even if we stand in the vegetable section of the grocery store, even the vegetables disconnected from the trees and stuff, they have such a high intelligent frequency. You can feel better. So anyway, I'm telling you, I could go on with you
Yeah,
for six
no, it's,
hours.
it's more important than ever, particularly because I think the trees are going to be our teachers, the animals are going to
Yeah.
be our teachers in a way that we haven't known, certainly in this lifetime or for many, many, many lifetimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So we're purging just so that we can bring in more light. The Syrians are telling me that our human body is undergoing a significant upgrade in our light system. Around October 24th. Now, here I was really curious what you have to say about this. This is what I heard. October 24th. And then I hear, shh, don't wake the sleeping dragon.
wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So we've got Uranus directly opposite the sun that day. Uranus directly opposite the sun. So this is very much galactic energy,
Mm.
futuristic energy. Um, and you've got, let me see, you've got Neptune in a 150-degree aspect to the sun. I think that's correct. Yeah, yeah. So they are very much, and Uranus and Neptune in combination are like mystical dimensions you could have never imagined
Ah.
experiencing, and they're both aspecting the sun on the 24th of October.
And so it felt more like we don't want to wake the sleeping dragon, but we need to wake the sleeping dragon. And it's like another, purging karmic patterns on so many levels. We have the potential to feel exhausted, but in truth, we want to be in gratitude that we're able to shed and prepare for the upcoming burst of light. And there is something mystical and magical by dragon frequencies.
And it's
Um, eh,
interesting that the sun in Scorpio, one of the kind of animal representatives, if you like, of Scorpio, is the eagle and the phoenix, but there's also the serpent,
wow.
which links, of course, to dragon energy as well. It's wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's similar kind of family, if you like,
Yeah.
to dragon
Yeah.
energy.
I mean, let's think about it just for a nanosecond. If we wake up to our wisdom and knowledge that we are more powerful and that we no longer need to play small, and that stepping into our power is expansive and uh, joy filled and loving, it's like, then we might make changes in life. And so, if we don't want to wake that knowledge, represented symbolically by the dragon, it's like, so supporting the body is again paramount, in these next 3 months, but we are getting ready to burst into light. We are awakening to our wisdom.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And you're talking about November as being very significant for the light, Nancy.
Burst into blue is what I named it. And it's interesting because every November was when we had those blue light surges. And then I wrote, this is the galactic preparation zone. And I don't know. I mean, all the galactic stuff. I mean, my life's just saturated in it, but it doesn't mean that I totally understand it all. But November 5th to the 25th of November, the Syrians tell me, is an incoming high galactic surge that's activating high levels of galactic light and light codes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you've got Uranus, the planet of the galactics, at 29 degrees, the very last degree of Taurus, the anoretic degree, the crisis degree. And really, that's the last time it's going to be there. Let me just check. It's the last time I think that's going to be there. Yeah, it stays, yeah, it backs up to 20, 28, 27. But it's very much at the very end of Taurus before it launches into Gemini, finally, 26th of April, fully until 2033. And that's when I think we'll start to have a lot more galactic communication, because Uranus equals galactic, Gemini is communication. So we're right on the brink of it. We're
Wow,
ready
wow.
to work.
Yeah, and I just wrote it. November's like an inoculation, like I'm a nurse. So sometimes if they want to see what you're allergic to, they'll pinprick your
Yeah,
skin
yeah.
to see if you'll get a whelp on it. Well, this is like a little inoculation to prepare us for January. And it's igniting breakthroughs in consciousness in November.
Wow.
People will be having an igniting of consciousness in November. So you want to definitely do your work, uh, enjoy your process over the next 3 months, because we're all preparing for January. And then around the solstice, I wrote a galactic reboot.
Yeah.
And December, I'm curious about what you have to say about this because it felt totally absent to me. It was like I couldn't have been in a black hole somewhere. Like I just couldn't get a sense. Like I was waving my head in a crowd, but I couldn't feel the people because the frequency was so high. that my human self was feeling a bit out of sorts, confused, not knowing what to do, a little out of sync and fragmented.
Yeah, it's super powerful, the winter solstice this year, more powerful than normal because we have so many planets. Whenever you have the winter solstice, the sun moves into Capricorn, zero of Capricorn in the tropical zodiac, and that happens every year. But you've got so many planets at 0 to 2 degrees of their signs. It's activating so many. So you've got, let me see, you've got Sun conjunct Mars, which is super strong as a surge in hard aspect to Uranus, and they are both square to Saturn and Neptune. Incredibly strong energy, then, of it's a kind of propulsion,
That's what it feels like.
a propulsion to a different level. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. 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 I'm healthy structure, healthy discipline, healthy alignment, healthy embodiment. And then we get into the long awaited January. And so I wrote my notes January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. A pyramid power begins building into a force for change.
Wow.
So it's like all these pyramids in the world are starting to come online and share their ancient teachings or maybe their ancient secrets, but they are coming through. Like light codes are being released, and not all pyramids will come online at the same time. I don't think that we could handle that, but that's just my human Nancy. But it's like it knocks the earth frequencies up a few octaves of light, activating thousands of pyramids. And this is what I love. They said man made and nature made. And the nature made are the mountains that are pyramidal in shape that can handle the light. And I just wrote boom, boom, boom. So I asked the Syrians, how is this going to impact humanity? And I hear, it's time to put, now I'm so sorry if this offends anybody, but this is how they talk to me, pretty straightforward. It's time to put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. And then I hear stop saving other people and start leading yourself. And so it's that belief that we all have this capacity to save ourselves, to make choices for ourselves, and stand up and start leading ourselves and being responsible for ourselves. But this is, it's just the trajectory is so different. And let it break. That was the other information. We need to start letting things break. Stop carrying around the super glue, trying to fix all the shattered glasses and put them back together again. It's just like, let things need to break. And that's what we've been going through anyway in the past few years. But January 11th, off the charts, galactic burst of light.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, that date, Nancy, because we have the Sun, Mars, and Venus all at sort of 20 to 22 degrees of Capricorn. Venus is at 22 of Capricorn. So we've got three planets together. Now, 22 degrees of Capricorn is where we had Saturn, Pluto, and Mars on the 12th of January 2020, when the whole pandemic kicked off. So that
Oh,
activated that degree as a hot degree. So it's like, and although the sun comes around to that point every year, and yes, Venus has been past that and Mars has been, but they're all together now as a kind of, well, it's like healing whatever happened then to a higher octave with love, Venus, and have the
yes.
right balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, Mars and Venus together. And they are all opposing Jupiter. So it's this wonderful feeling of wisdom and
Yeah.
expansion, expanding our heart energy. I mean, it's really beautiful. And the sun is trying to Uranus at that point. So, there's this real feeling of we are in a very, very different place in terms of
Yeah.
coming in
Yeah.
an expanded consciousness, and expanded state of love versus the beginning of 2020. It's like, it's like an echo of what happened then, but boy, are we in a different place.
Yes. Yes. And because I'm clairvoyant, I'm always shown things through images to help me understand. And it's like, all right, so you're going to climb a mountain. We can say Mount Everest, but it could be any mountain, Kilimanjaro, whatever. But you're going to plan, and you're going to plan your meals. You're going to plan hiking every day. You're going to walk around with backpacks filled with weights so that you can get used to it. And then the day comes and you start climbing the mountain. But to me, January feels like being at the top of the mountain, and where you just close your eyes and you're facing up to the sun, and you're just breathing in that exhilarating fresh air at the high altitudes. And it's like it was worth every step of the way. But here right now, might not feel it, but that's what January feels like to me. Like we really go to another level.
Wow. And what's wonderful then as well is sort of end of January on the 26th, 27th, Neptune enters zero of Aries finally for the last time in its cycle. So it's beginning a whole new cycle in Aries, but it's obviously at zero of Aries, which is the very first sign of the zodiac, the creator degree of pure potentiality.
Oh,
Pure
wow.
potentiality. So
Wow.
that's the final time within this cycle, and then it's in Aries for the next 14 years. But that is the most powerful degree in the entire zodiac, more so
Wow.
than any other, because Saturn and Neptune are actually going to be holding hands entering zero of Aries 0:44 on the 20th of February, but Neptune enters slightly earlier, 0 degrees 0 minutes on the 27th of January. So pure potentiality kicks off at that point.
Wow. Wow.
In a big
Wow.
way. And what's fascinating for me as well is February is super strong because we have a solar eclipse on the 17th of February, and the sun and moon that are always together at a solar eclipse, it's like a new moon, are squaring, very tightly squaring Uranus, which again is the galactics, again is higher mind, again is awakening, again is this jump to a higher level. And then 3 days later, Saturn and Neptune holding hands together at 0:44 of Aries begin their whole new cycle fully. And they haven't been at zero of Aries. I've got to credit my very good friend Heather Ensworth, that she found the last time they were at zero of Aries was 4,361 BC, so almost 6,000.
Whoa. Wow.
That's how rare some of these things we're looking at, and the actual total configuration I've been talking about for the last year or so, we believe that has never actually happened before. It's a completely unique astrological configuration of Pluto, Uranus with Saturn, Neptune exactly in the middle. So it's like a complete rebirth for humanity.
That's a powerful statement, Pam.
And that's truly how I feel. And of course, it will go on for, to infinity. It will go on for many, many, many years.
Yes.
But this is what I see as the launch point, the real beginning of it.
Yeah.
And it'll take
Yeah.
time, of course. We're just kind of coming out of gestation
Yes.
after these winter months. But nevertheless, that's what I'm seeing then. And then on the 26th of April, Uranus enters Gemini fully, and we're off to the races because all of the outer planets are in their new signs. And then this particular unique configuration I've been looking at becomes most exact, pretty much to the minute, on the 18th of July. And the whole of July will feel that. And it continues through 2027 as well. But this is like a real blossoming of
Yes.
all of the original challenges. It's like, okay, all the, we've had the seed points, we've had the launches over the many, many hundreds of years, really. And now here is the blossoming,
Yes.
I think very related to Christ consciousness energy.
Yes. Yes.
And, from that point on, that configuration continues through 2027 and then gradually breaks up. So you see the peak point, as it were, in January 26, Nancy.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's if I were, because I'm a nurse, I really, I just, it's like, tell me how I'm going to feel, or if I feel that way, what do I do? And And so some of the action steps we've already talked about, but the other thing is come up with a plan. It's easier to come up with a plan when you don't feel good. And when you feel good, excuse me. So, like, all right, this particular music, when I put this on, this helps, on those days that are rough, come up with a plan of action. And it might be salt baths, or it might be going out in nature, or going to the ocean, like getting myself some beautiful flowers. Like, come up, make a list so that you can remember when you're in those places you don't feel good. It's hard to think your way out of it. um but yeah, come up with a plan, meditate. And I do highly recommend that I have free meditations on my site. There's a lot of people, there's apps for meditations, but just start doing it little bits at a time. Because if we're thinking about the long game, we're thinking about, I just kind of stopped looking at this in January, and with you, Pam, just showing us a little further, it's like we want to prepare, you know?
And also very much, Nancy, and also I want to say the new version of you could be actually quite different from what
Yeah.
you have been to date, because part of what you've been to date may partly be programming, or parents thought it was a great idea to go and work in a bank
Yeah.
or some corporate job, and all of a sudden that's not feeling quite so good.
Yeah.
So really ask your dreams. It's something I do very often as I'm falling asleep. Show me the next step, show me the highest version of myself, show me some idea of the new me. And it may well be that you're going to be drawn to painting, writing poetry, or
Yes.
getting involved in healing, or animal communication, or it could be quite different from what you've
Joining a
done.
choir, anything. Yeah.
Absolutely, whatever gives you joy, makes your heart sing, and you can feel lifted by, go explore that. This is
Yes.
your time to go and explore, because this
Yeah.
is before we're
Yeah.
fully launched, or at least we've gone through
Yes.
gestation
Yes.
by next year, quite early next year. So, and really do. And for me, it might even be that I take a step back from us doing astrology in the way I'm doing it. I may get more involved with animals that I love, or
Mhm.
healing, or who knows. But play, ask for,
Play is huge. Yeah.
yeah, and play. Ask for input from your higher self, input from your guides, your angels, whoever you speak to. Show me, give me the breadcrumbs, show me the
Yes.
white feathers, where I'm supposed to be
Yes.
focusing on. Make it clearer, make it louder, make it louder. I'm not hearing you. Somebody once told me they had a vision of their angels who were painting their nails, waiting for instructions, which has really stuck.
Exactly. I see those things all the time. Well, and the other piece that I would love for people to put post-it notes. I'm not the only one going through this. All of humanity is going through this right now. All of humanity, even the faces on television and on the nightly news, I promise you, they are all going through it. They just might have a few more masks, between us, seeing their truth, but we are all going through it. And I feel like if I can just keep reminding myself of that, it helps me to have a little bit more patience. And even if I don't always have the full understanding, it's like, okay, I'm not in this alone. Humanity, we are all going through the shift.
And that's why I think getting together with like-minded people in
Yes.
community, whether it's online or physically, or even getting to know your neighbors better
Yes.
than you have done in the past. Getting to know your local farmers will serve you very well.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing where you're forming connections more strongly than you have ever done before.
Yeah.
Ideally, if
Yeah.
you can make them local, then it's even
Yeah.
easier.
Well, Pam, I, of course, as always, just love chatting with you. And um, when this information comes in, it's like I have to feel it in my bones before I share it. Like, I have to just kind of know that this is a truth for me. And I'm always asking about, how does this impact humanity? And I really feel in this concentrated bit of time that we've had together, I think I, f- I feel like we've really helped kind of kickstart a more this exciting time that's
Yeah,
coming up.
and it really is, for us to be alive on the planet right now is extraordinary, because within one lifetime we are going to go from the kind of old 3D version to begin. We are the bridge builders, I think, the bridge builders to these higher
Yeah.
dimensions, and we are going to help to create. I'm going so goosebumpy. This period will be talked about in history long, long term.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
people who were the bridge builders, Nancy and I, and everybody listening, every
Mhm.
one of you, you're the bridge builders who are going to be helping to
Yeah.
create this amazing, more loving, more inclusive, abundant new
Yeah.
earth. Every single one of you, the jigsaw doesn't get completed if it's missing the smallest piece. Everybody has
Yes.
a contribution to make. So don't think that you don't matter. Help
No.
a neighbor with their shopping, smiling at a stranger in the street. Every little small act of kindness counts. It puts weights in the side of the scale that's connected to the tsunami of love which we're building across the earth right now.
Yeah. And our 20, 30-year-olds, I've been starting to watch some of the YouTube channels that they have, and I'm just like, I just didn't think like that when I was their age.
Okay.
So there's just some really incredible generations
Yeah.
that we're kind of cutting the path, and we're really, helping to bring through information. And I feel like the wave is just joining. It isn't. We're not going to be so divided, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's really true. We're headed towards unity consciousness. And it's interesting. Somebody wrote to me today, because, we so often talk about heading for unity consciousness, but on the other hand, it's undeniable that there's a bifurcation in
Yeah.
frequency right now. It's
Yes.
undeniable. And the way I'd like to explain that, and I've used this analogy before, I know, but it's quite a useful one, is we're at an airport. Some people have chosen fast track, some people have chosen slow track, but we all get on the unity consciousness plane at
Exactly.
the end of the day. Everybody is
Yeah.
heading in that direction. And it may well be that the people who choose a more natural and organic route are actually the slow coaches growing vegetables. We're,
Yes.
we're not necessarily initially the fast track.
Exactly.
We could be the
Yeah.
slow track initially, but
Yes.
then I think the organic biology really
Yeah.
accelerates. Well, it's accelerating right now, but for us to see this, to go through this transition within one lifetime, I think is completely extraordinary, and we chose to be here.
It is. It is. It is extraordinary, and there's so many wonderful. I call them, like seers. So many people that are joining forces. And that's the other thing I love about our spiritual community. Like, we're not competing with each other. We're unifying together. We're so highly respectful of all these different perspectives. And that's my sense of where the world is going, as well.
Yeah, and I love that too, Nancy. I mean, you talk to the blue light beings. That I don't do that. So, well, I may do in my dream life, but I'm not aware of it. But you can bring forward that information. So it's recognizing each other's gifts and abilities,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of integrity, and I think it's part of humility, and that's how we
Yeah.
come together as a team. It's going to be a very different kind of. It's not going to be leadership in that old fashioned way.
No.
It's going to be teams of us coming together with particular perspectives that hopefully
Yeah.
will help people going forward.
With respect and honor, and yeah. Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. Oh,
Love talking to you, Nancy. Now, so people can connect with you on your YouTube channel. Is it Intuitive Mind?
no, I think it is under Nancy Rebecca now, and I will send you some links. I do have a link that is free, which is activating your inner authority. So your inner authority being your intuitive guidance. So I will include that link too, and that's free with some instructional videos and some things like that, guided meditations. And so. Lots of ways to connect with me, but I will be happy to put that. Thank you so much for
Yeah, I'll put all the information below, because
offering that.
Nancy is incredibly busy. I don't know. Her productivity is awesome.
Somebody asked me yesterday, "Do you actually ever sleep?"
Yeah, it's
And I
phenomenal.
I slept 10 hours last night. So yes, so I do sleep,
Yeah,
but
but you are super busy, super productive, and such a variety of offerings for people to help
yeah.
them through these times as well. So I
That's so
know,
important to me. That's really my calling is, as a nurse, is to work with the human energy field and help people to support themselves in
and I
this
know people
process.
adore you as a teacher too.
Yeah, I adore them. It is a mutual adoration club
Yeah.
for sure.
Fabulous, Nancy. It's been absolutely marvelous. So exciting, so magical to spend this last hour with you. As always, I've absolutely loved it. So
I have to. I have to.
God bless and thank you for all that you're doing in the world to help people.
Thank you so much. You too, Pam. Bye-bye.
Loads of love to everybody. Bye for now.
Bye.